You've seen the war movies with the training sequences depicting some extreme physical challenge or wild-looking drill. It looks insane, but the truth is the real-life version of what you've seen on TV is even crazier than they can produce in the movies. The great militaries around the world have devised some of the most intense training regimens imaginable to prepare their soldiers to perform at the highest levels under dire physical conditions and intense mental and psychological distress, all while the opponent is trying to kill you. So today we're going to see 6 of these military training exercises that are patently crazy. Number 6. Sinking ship. Imagine you're on a ship in the middle of the ocean and the vessel starts taking on water. What do? If you're like most normal people, probably evacuate your bowels into your underpants and then panic a little, which is the last thing you'd want a sailor engaged in war to do. So the Royal Navy and many other militaries around the world have designed sinking ship simulators that give an eerily lifelike experience of a ship that is going down. By putting their sailors in these situations over and over again, the Navy's able to automate the proper response in their soldiers so they can jump into immediate and effective action amid the chaos, while resisting the urge to panic should this situation present itself. Sailors are trained to respond to leaks by first repairing the source of the water and quickly removing water from a flooded compartment. All this is done in conditions that mimic the real water pressure, darkness, and even the sounds that would occur on a ship that was going down for real. Number 5. Water competency. While we're on the subject of water, let's talk about the Navy SEALs. The SEALs are the famed elite force of human killing machines who undergo some of the most rigorous training imaginable. They must be ready to execute any mission under the most challenging of conditions. One such condition is water. So the Navy SEALs have devised an underwater competency program that progressively trains SEALs to become more and more comfortable in open water conditions. Unlike much of their initial training, which simply beats the recruits down and tests their mental and physical fortitude, the water competency program is solely focused on actual mission preparedness. In addition to swimming long distances both with and without air tanks and other gear in the pool and in the open ocean, recruits are bound hand and foot and must complete a series of tasks underwater that could save their life or that of a fellow soldier if a mission goes awry. The U.S. Navy is adamant that a prospective SEAL should never attempt to train for this competency on their own due to the serious danger of such an exercise, which is closely monitored by supervisors in the water. Number 4. Log training. An example of a drill done by SEALs is less combat specific, but still freaking crazy, is the log PT. A team of recruits are forced to lift a massive piece of wood overhead repeatedly, sometimes holding it in the air for long periods, doing squats or whatever other torturous movements the instructors can think of. This tests a soldier's ability to put the welfare of his or her team above that of himself. If just one member of the team slacks off, the rest of the group must shoulder all the extra weight that's being left to them. So in order to succeed, they must set aside their own comfort and fight through the pain for the good of their fellow soldiers. Number 3. Road to Heaven. The Taiwanese Marine Corps has developed a rather sadistic rite of passage that new recruits must complete in order to graduate from their training. What is called the Road to Heaven is a half football field long course of sharp rocks and pieces of coral. The wannabe Marines must belly crawl through this monstrosity, stopping to perform exercises along the way as the rocks and coral rip into their flesh. Famiki is invited to watch this final obstacle to graduation and can only be horrified by the sight of their loved one in so much pain. But after the pain comes the celebration of a complete course of training. Number 2. South Korean snow drills. South Korea, being the neighbor of the ever-volatile North Korea, doesn't mess around when it comes to training their military. Nearly 5% of the population of the country is enlisted in the military. 500,000 are active duty and the rest are in their reserves awaiting war to strike. The South Korean armed forces are ranked as the 6th most powerful military in the world and has one of the largest defense budgets on the planet at roughly $44 billion. The facts and figures are impressive, but what is really hardcore is the training exercise done in the winter by special forces soldiers who travel to the country's coldest region and train shirtless in negative 22-degree temperatures. They train in hand-to-hand combat, PT, and other tactics of war while at these frigid temperatures. One can imagine that this whole thing is less about preparedness for a specific situation, rather a mechanism of hardening the mind of the soldier to fight courageously under any condition. Number 1. Confidence Chamber. If this isn't crazy, I don't know what is. In week 10 of their initial training, Marines are gathered into what's referred to as a confidence chamber. Each soldier is wearing a gas mask as the room is filled with CS gas. This is what is commonly referred to as tear gas and is the same thing used to disperse riots because even a small amount of the substance causes severe irritation of the eyes, nose, and throat, as well as disorientation and violent coughing. A fairly small amount in open air will scatter an angry mob, and the Marines are in a closed chamber, completely fogged in with this stuff. They perform a series of exercises that ultimately concludes with removing their gas mask and enduring the harsh effects of the chemicals in the air, knowing that if they give up and exit the chamber, their quest to become a Marine will end. So there are some of the crazy exercises used by militaries around the world to prepare their troops for combat. I recommend that you engage in none of these because they are absolutely insane. Instead, just be thankful to the people who are psychotic enough to put themselves through this training and thus are prepared to defend your way of life to the death. We'll be back soon with more sweet behind-the-screen videos. If you want to be the first to know when new content hits the airwaves, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. And until next time, this is Behind the Screen, over and out.